Hey, what's going on, folks? How y'all doing? This is the Hell Else podcast with your guy Cody on the mic. Not only we're coming to you through the audio wave, we are hitting you with the video as well too. Trying something new here, and I'll tell you, it's been a nightmare lately. That's all I can say. But we are coming through here. How y'all doing? This is the face behind the mic. This is Cody. If you had any other high expectations, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is what I do. Welcome to the show. This is episode 11. Title, I don't even know, off the rip. Deeper into Dystopia, right? I think that's the one that's been working. We'll get into a few topics here today. It won't be too much of a crammed episode like the last one, especially if we're trying with this method here. We got some time limits for sure. A technical issue after technical issue doesn't even matter. Something's always going to mess up, but hey, we're here. We're providing this information. Take my hand. I will guide you through the dystopian riddle world that we're currently going through. Before we get into all that, hey, holidays, right? Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. I forgot how to pronounce it. Got my lights going on for the festivities. I got my gear on too. The Say Goodnight Kevin shirt. That's what I'm talking about. Not my favorite time of year though, but hey, we're gonna enjoy it. If you got your shopping done, nice, good job. If you've barely started on it, oof, good luck to you. All praises and good luck to you. You're gonna be Jingle all the way out there, buddy. You're gonna be Howard fighting con man, Santa Clauses, running away from police, doing whatever he can to get the Turbo Man doll. It's turbo time. Good luck out there if you just barely started. I would highly recommend doing your shopping in line rather than online with some distributors, because right now, after my purchases for this holiday, I feel like an absolute abhorrent monster for patronizing a certain company out there. We'll probably talk about that next episode or so. But yeah, what are we going to talk about right now? Spicy, crazy topics, right? We're going to continue to cover this whole New Jersey phenomenon, the East Coast phenomenon, right? Other thing too is Brian Thompson CO incident, all that, what's been stemming from that, other issues that are coming up from that, like the McSnitch over at Altoona. We'll see how that $60,000 reward for his civil duties turned out for him. And then just also another incident that is just kind of unnerving, where a frustrated customer of United Healthcare shares their opinion after being denied, and the results of it are very unnerving. We'll cover that in a second as well too. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. First thing is this whole New Jersey issue, this whole phenomenon on the East Coast. Are they UFOs or drones? As from what I've been hearing from the UFO or the ufology community, all the people that are into that, it would be considered just a complete diss if you compare this technology to extraterrestrial technology. You're insulting these guys. Obviously, a lot of these are drones. They have the characteristics, the sounds, the looks, all that of a drone. And then in some videos, like one I saw not too long ago, where an orb light is in the sky, shooting out other little orbs flying away, then eventually gets hit by a little bottle rocket looking projectile and it blows up in the air. That one left me with a bunch of questions, that's for sure. One thing is for sure is that New Jerseyans and everybody along the East Coast around there is just getting upset. Apparently, there was a press interview with New Jersey officials, from state representatives and the governor with the public, and basically what they laid out is, this is crazy, this is wild, they're not giving us any answers. One representative said, I remember when they filmed War of the Worlds here, it's starting to feel like that again over in Staten Island and whatnot. Another representative made a comment where this is possibly some type of domestic military project or training, some form of operation that they know about and they're not telling us. Cue the X-Files theme, right? Another representative by the name Jeff Van Drew, I did get this guy's name, made a claim over the past month a mothership has stationed itself off the east coast of this country. Mothership, not the Zeta mothership from Fallout or any type of terrestrial being ship. Apparently is a Iranian-based naval vessel that is stationed out there and sending out these drones all towards us for a surveillance operation funded and greenlit by China. Now, given the whole climate of global tensions, it's not completely out of reality, right, for surveillance operation. But what's definitely out the realm of reality is, how is a foreign military ship gonna station itself just off the coastline when we, a domestic power, a global power with the domestic dominating global power with a dominant military force with a very superb coast guard? How is the ship going to be hanging out around there and not be spotted or noticed? So that theory, throw it out the window. These guys are making some wild claims for sure. China really doesn't need help with Iran right now with surveillance projects that they're doing. Already telecom hack that they successfully had done. We'll get into that in a second. But for the past week or so, there has been congressional hearings. I believe like New Jersey congressional, representatives pressing and asking FBI agents, officials, representatives, what the hell's going on? So, the rundown basically is, what do we know about this phenomenon? The answer? Oh, me? Oh, you asking me? Oh, we don't know. We don't know anything really. We might know something, but we don't know anything. What? All right. And then, hey, this could be foreign military originating, possibly, right? Oh, possibly. And it possibly could be cartel originated as well from either borders just to get an upper leg on, law enforcement. So there's that as well, too. Other questions in the context with all of the advanced technology we have with military, especially, and local law enforcement, aren't we able to track down these drones and their operators? Response? We possibly could, but, we need to work with and get certain permissions from local, federal, and state agencies to properly go about this. Word salad on word salad why the government isn't or can't do anything about this right now. One chairman sussed out a question as well. FBI, you guys as officials, you're basically saying that there is not a federal law that currently exists right now for you to do anything about this. Another one asked, bottom line, is there anything the federal government can do to assist at a local level? Only response was, only if Congress can pass, a law that will allow us to do something. So this is where the conspiracy meter in the corner of my brain is just waking out, right? Let's take a step over here then. Passing a bill or a law that allows federal and military operations to be taking place in a local setting and or against civilians. There's reasons why the military can't do that. And there's only reason why the National Guard is the only entity that can be deployed during a crisis or an emergency of some sort. So, even if blindly or obvious with intent, hiding it in the fine print, passing this bill under the guise of a surveillance operation to counteract whatever surveillance operations happening to us, right? And this passage of a bill and allowance to do so might sit and wait till it can be utilized for maybe what it was really intended for to get passed in the first place. So that's where my little meter's ticking off right there. Also, another conspiracy that correlates with this is that this is a potential some kind of psyop, to distract us from everything that's going on, especially the Luigi Mangione case. Quite literally, CEOs were absolutely shaking in their silk-lined boots for about 2 weeks before Luigi was identified and apprehended, right? And then now, the upcoming story we'll talk about too, when somebody has an opinion about this, now that they know that they can be touched, they're scared shitless, and they're not taking they're taking prisoners, and they're making civilians prisoners for their opinions. So with all in all, questions under the context that we live in a reality where the dynamics of warfare it changes and evolves on a daily basis. What have you been able to do to figure out anything of this phenomenon, if anything at all? Response again? Nothing. No. Why then? We're not sure. Maybe it's just because we're limited on what we can do. All right, next question. How much does the FBI this past year annually, how much were you guys funded? About $11 billion. Cool. And we know nothing. All right, that's great. Awesome. Next question was, between the Pentagon and FAA, what are all you guys doing to work together? What information have you gathered and shared with each other? The response was, we cannot speak for them, but we could use some more jurisdiction. They just kept pressing it a little bit more and more. Like they want something passed and that's where it gets a little scary. In the end, there are surveillance operations taking place for sure. The telecom hack that just happened, there's that for sure. And all other forms of hack. Russia has been doing all kinds of other hacks as well too. I'm not prevalent to exactly what they are, but I have been hearing another hacking operation took place, and it was based off of this for these purposes. So it's not out the realm of reality. This is some kind of potential surveillance program, but who knows? Just more and more questions keep popping up. I cannot make heads or tails on it. I would just say these are my call on it. It's man operated. It's some kind of a project going on. And conspiracy, it's a distraction. One thing I definitely can reassure you that I have a definite answer on about all this is I feel like Meryl Hess from Signs sitting in the closet under the stairs watching this whole coverage break down. I mean, you can't escape it. It's literally on every single platform these days, right? Yeah, dude, I'm really feeling like that guy. Next thing you know, we're gonna see a birthday party, a little Mexican kid's birthday party, and they're like, it's the alien out there. Move, kids, vámonos, right? That's how I'm feeling about all this. Anyways, let's jump into the next topic. The other one, whole implosion going on the Democratic side of the spectrum. Ever since the election results occurred, this rift has just opened up a chasm, left-wing side. It's a separation between actual progressive-minded individuals and ones at the base of it all who uphold the norm of everything, right? Just the usual fodder has been fed to all of us, the reasons why, we're at the point we are. Why did Kamala lose? She didn't get enough donors. She didn't have good policies. I mean, the only thing that really was a death blow was saying we're going to stick to what Joe has been, we're going to stay with his policies. We're not changing anything that he's already set up. And a death blow right there, that's for sure. And then bottom line, the thing that they just really didn't want to come to terms and grasp with, just as the same as the right-wing side, left-wing side has lost complete touch with blue-collared people, the common man, the common voter. It's all in interests of donors, lobbyists, and that's it. Yeah, dude. So as of late, a bunch of independent media sites have been calling out mainstream media for their tone and severity of criticism towards the other side now these days. Good independent sites like Democracy Now, Midas Touch. I think Midas Touch is part of Democracy Now. On top of that, too, Daily Zeitgeist on iHeartRadio, BBC, NPR, all that. Independent journalist sites have been really kind of getting the idea of the tone shift with a lot of media sources and big media sources on this side. For example, one of those independent sources now, the Young Turks, right? If you know that name, you know that name. If you know Anna and Cenk, you know the faces of the Young Turks, basically. That has been kind of just falling apart bit by bit now because they've been changing their tone, and two hosts that have quit over the past 3-ish years have come to light with what these guys, they've been just basically changing the whole ideology. Start from a point where I'm a left-wing liberal. You might call me an extremist, but we're here for the common people and make change for the working man. And then you drop that entire sentiment entirely because you're at a point now where you got so many viewers and you're making X amount of money. You forget about why you're there, right? It happens to everybody. There's no saving from fame at all. I don't know. One person that comes to mind first is Ben Carallo. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. If not, I am so sorry. But Ben Carallo was an individual on the network, had a channel. He had a pulse on LGBTQ current affairs. A former military member, I believe the branch was the Army, if not the Navy. One of those. Could be Air Force as well too, But he did serve. He also covered stories about the dark reality of sexual misconduct within the military ranking and how it's covered up. That gets dark, and I can't even get into that. That's probably a whole episode, or you just go look up the stories about those incidences within ranks of military. It's twisted. Other than that, though, he was kind of left to fizzle out. Apparently, he didn't garner enough views and attention with his content. But Ben's claim on his side was, these guys kind of throttled me out of the network. And then it came to a point where it was become apparently clear that their care for this community and how it's being affected by a terrible administration, it began to diminish over the years to a point to where these guys just don't even care at all. If you're not getting the views, then what are you even doing here? So Ben left. All right, and as for Mondo Robinson, right, one of the most recent hosts that quit with the Young Turks, made similar claims as well too. Anna and Cenk are just changing their tune entirely. Anna, especially as of late, went on a few interviews, over this year. I think the most recent one was after the election results. Her tune is completely changed. She's trying to justify, make reasons with this upcoming administration and their potential decisions that they're making. It's unnerving, for sure. On top of it, Mondale made this statement live on one of his other channels, I believe. His business partner was there and his manager, I believe to be. And, they were just like, why are you making these decisions? We're going to support you on your claims, you know what I mean? We're just curious why are you making these decisions to do this? So the change of tune is one of them. Second of them is they're not supporting him as, anymore, if anything, what happened to Ben. Top of it too, him doing what he does, you garner a lot of attention and, support, and some of that attention as well too is not supportive. If anything, it's the entire opposite of what you want to be. So Mondale had to receive assistance from FBI, and I guess you can call it assistance, but basically what they said, they just told him, hey, just don't have your wife travel by herself or go anywhere by herself. Good luck. That's it, apparently. So yeah, Mondale made his statement. This is what's going on. This is the rift that is, ripping through the whole left-wing side of the spectrum. And it's just looking uglier and uglier every day, especially with ABC News. As of December 16th, they dropped a whole whopping $15 million towards the Trump Foundation and Museum. That doesn't exist yet, apparently. So whatever the hell is featured in this museum or library too as well, some greasy-ass McDonald's covered fries, everything everywhere, I don't know. And his words too, you might not ever see it. We might not, but we'll see that $15 million just get sucked up into the foundation. So this all came from a defamation case that apparently ABC lost. And this is when George Stephanopoulos had an interview with Trump at the time where he was going through the cases and allegations with E. Jean Carroll being a rapist, all the other allegations made from other females as well too, not to mention his grab him by the pussy famous statement as well. So how are you not a rapist if you're acting like this and you got claims like this? I would consider you to be a rapist then. George made those claims. Trump took it as a defamation. And now here we are. With no other cases, everything dropped with the Jack Smith case. Nothing stopping this guy. Everybody's changing their tune. ABC especially with this sad, pathetic attempt of saying, so we're cool, right? You're not going to come after us later on. It's, to say the least, it's all very unnerving at the end of the day. I don't know how to expand upon it anymore. So buckle up and brace yourselves for the upcoming administration. One thing we definitely can say for sure, justice can be served and can be enforced. And apparently it's going to be enforced just on the regular common person. So we're going to jump into the whole continuing saga of Brian Thompson, Luigi Mangione, right? So on the sidelines, an individual that lives in Lakeland, Florida by the name of Breonna Boston, a mother of 3, and I would believe now a former member of United Healthcare Services. As of December 10th, she had a phone call with the representative. Basically, the same story we've been hearing over and over, being denied for for assistance, a medical necessity from a self-proclaimed business that says that they offer healthcare. So, completely out of frustration, Breonna made the statement, delay, deny, depose. You people are next. And after that, not even a whole full 48 hours. It must be a record-breaking timing. FBI got in contact with Lakeland Police, and Lakeland Police tracked down Breonna and found this mother of 3 violent, vicious terrorists. You know what I mean? And then is charged with terroristic threats and possibly carrying out a mass shooting. Although, funny enough, under Breonna's information, she is not anywhere in record known for purchasing or registering or owning a firearm throughout her whole life ever. That's a bit surprising. A Florida resident, not gun to the teeth and all that, you know what I mean? Crazy world we're living in. Must be the real Twilight Zone. But no, honestly, this is sick. You can look at this 100 ways as to why law enforcement did what they did and justify it, I'd assume, but this is nothing more than a message from the rich to the poor, to us peasants, the unwashed masses, that you're going to voice your opinion at a time where we're scared shitless because we know we can actually be touched now. We're going to take this seriously. So she has been charged, she's in custody, and she has a bail bond set at $10,000. Now, and everybody else that are covering this story as well too had made comparisons and claims that individuals that are charged with more heinous and violent crimes, sexual assault offenders, are given bail bonds at a whole entire less amount than $10,000. So how could you explain this? I guess from the chief of police, his explanation was This is a 42-year-old woman, okay? We can't, this is not just some kid. We got to take this seriously. What do you mean you got to take this seriously if it's a kid? I think after I don't know, where are we at now? Over 20 shootings in schools? I don't think that notion applies whatsoever. The way I see it is, I don't think it matters age, gender, affiliation, or any of that matters. When the person gets a hold of and knows how to use the basics of a gun and has a mental break and decides to use it for the worst. I don't think any of that would apply in that situation. So there's the chief of police of Lakeland there for you. The defense attorney for Breonna made statements that this is a message to just common people as well. This threat that was made would never have been taken seriously the day before the Brian Thompson incident or all the time prior to that. It would just be brushed aside and you would just end the phone call right there, right? So as for the free speech warriors and the keyboard warriors online, that's exactly what they got to say. So it's funny and hypocritical. And this is where it gets more, this is where we just expand upon the echo chamber of hypocrisy we live in. Remember Kyle Rittenhouse? If you don't, I'll give you the quick rundown. 17, 18-year-old kid or a man, by the system. Because when I was 18 years old and got popped for, having a bottle of alcohol as a minor, probation services yelled and said, "I'm a man. You made manly decisions to go acquire and consume this alcohol at a high school party that we never even made to in the beginning." So that's a whole other story there. But the 17, 18-year-old kid that had guns, had a bunch of boom booms, thankfully acquired through his parents, he gets a buddy of his and has his mommy drive him all the way from wherever in Illinois. I remember a minimum of a 4-hour drive from Illinois all the way over to Kenosha, Wisconsin, when the riots and protests were happening there after the upset of the shooting of Jacob Blake when police shot him. So he gets a ride from his mommy. They go all the way over there. For what reason? They have family there, right? And they're just concerned for them, or they have a family, friends that own a business there that, they need to go defend. No, they don't know anybody in Kenosha. Kyle and his buddy went to go play Call of Duty IRL, basically. And the aftermath and everything that happened, what happened? Well, some people see a kid running around, cosplaying Call of Duty with a freaking AR, a weapon of war. And they're like, "What are you doing, dude? Why are you out here brandishing this like, you're holding down a fort or something?" Next thing you know it, gets all, tries to be a badass and gets all scared. And a scared kid with a gun is just as dangerous, is angry with a gun, really. And, starts running away and gets run down by some protesters who are trying to stop him. And the next thing you know, he turns around and starts spraying at him. In the end, one protester was killed. Now, the protester's backstory is not at play here, okay? Given all that, it's not at play in the context right here, and the hypocrisy that is just deafening. When all that happened, then what was Kyle? Oh, he was a man. He was a patriot. He's one of these saviors of America. He's gonna make it great again. But when he's up on that podium doing the he's a kid. He's innocent. Leave this child alone. I don't even know. There's nothing more to expand upon it, really. We're vile, we're vicious because we have no sentiment towards a billionaire, because we're supposed to relate to all billionaires, right? Yeah, that's where we're at. I can't see how we would share any sentiment to somebody who actively made decisions to affect and terminate hundreds to thousands of lives. I don't see how we can share any sentiment towards that at all, and especially for somebody that just ends up killing somebody at the end of the day, because murder never should be the answer. But if you have a predatory business that is just looking at us like cattle, 100 times I said it, what do you expect the end result to be? That's all I can really go upon that. And as for the employee at Altoona McDonald's, doing his civil duty. A snitch is a snitch at the end of the day, but this guy said, all right, he's here, and they apprehended the known shooter for Brian Thompson. Did that employee receive his $60,000 reward? No, he didn't. So for doing his civil duty, you get no reward. Why would that be? 3 reasons came to play here. I was looking up, but these 3 main reasons were, first, you didn't call the Crime Stoppers line, you just called the police, so that kind of disqualifies you. Second, your description that you gave, it just wasn't good enough, but you still apprehended the known suspect, the most number one person of interest. And then the third one was like United Health getting in the middle of it, basically doing a whole background check on the employee that made the call, just to determine if $60,000 given to a peasant working at McDonald's, is it worth it to us, Because he might change his life a fraction of $60,000 is damn near just worth $6,000 at this point these days, right? It's not going to change your life entirely if you invest it properly and right and have, build up your savings. Cool. Maybe some tiny little thing can change in your life, but we're already seeing what these unwashed masses are, how they feel towards us. So I don't think we should be able to just give money aimlessly away out of our $6 billion quarterly revenue. So it's crazy, those three things went to play. This person is not receiving any reward. I genuinely hope his information or anything doesn't get out there. He's not doxxed anyway, because after that, this dude will receive some street justice beatdown, if he gets found out. I wish that not upon this person, all right? This dude was just trying to do his civil duty at the end of the day, and if you receive a decent amount of money to help you out a bit, cool. But just as we see with United Health, these guys are absolute monsters. Absolute monsters. One thing too, another podcast channel I listened to, last podcast on the left, Total Fire. I believe it's Eddie. Now he's a new co-host on there. Eddie brought up the whole story about his mom. I remember the documentary he made, and I just didn't know United Health was at play. My brain completely farted. And he brought it up. The whole documentary of America Killed My Mom. At one point, it was like onset diabetes or type 2 diabetes. She needed the blood sugar monitor. United Health responded back with, all right, now this is going to cost you, I can't remember, $8,000, some thousands of dollars now for this device. Couldn't afford it. They took it. One night she went to sleep and never woke back up. And that's United Health there for you, dude. And then just to double on top of that, what they did to his dad. I guess his dad caught a real severe case of COVID during the whole pandemic and wasn't really looking too good, but United Health encouraged, not even just encouraged, damn near threatened them, you better take him to the hospital or this might be on you, Eddie. I don't know, probably not, but they genuinely encouraged to take his dad to the hospital so maybe they can do something to help him out. When they got there, no assistance was really given. It was just lay back and try to sleep this off or something. Next thing you know died at the hospital. What was the end result for Eddie after that? An $80,000 hospital bill. So they encouraged him just to go die at a hospital so they can just generate a bill for him. That's United Healthcare in a nutshell. So, no, we're dealing with absolute abhorrent monsters of this nation and just the continued degradation of our well-being as a mass group. That's just bottom line. How could you share any sentiment whatsoever towards this? But now, as of now, Luigi's been extradited to New York. More hypocrisy on top of it. This shit cake of hypocrisy that we're baking here together, guys. Video, he's being walked down a pier, surrounded by police, on top of police, and right behind him, there you have, great Mayor Eric Adams. Not only to forget, a mayor that has been convicted of sexual assault allegations, taking briberies, using campaign, for personal expenditures, all that shit that you can think of is corrupt. And he's walking down Luigi. The hypocrisy, Twilight Zone. We are just in the Twilight Zone at this point. So we'll cover it more and more as this trial kicks into gear. We'll see what comes of it. I believe his defense attorney is going to try to throw the insanity plea so then he can just get off scot-free. And if he does, well, I'm sorry. My response would be, cool, great. Because at least somebody is not suffering, people that should probably be suffering absolute real consequences are definitely not. And it's only just accelerating the weird world we're in. So we'll see where that goes. As for that, wrap up real quick, local events, I don't know, go enjoy the Christmas villages and whatnot. Look at the lights. I would say just bottom line, really just embrace and enjoy the season with your loved ones, you know what I mean? Because the end is near. We got a whole wild ride this upcoming year, so just really enjoy it right now. Have a drink or two. Don't drink too much eggnog. Practices for mental health. I would say swap. I'm gonna do this myself. Swap the doom scrolling for a creative hobby or project. Do some holiday crafts with your kids if you got kids and whatnot. Or make some yourself. It's always nice to make a holiday craft. Bake some cookies. The other weekend, me, my kid, and my family, we baked some cookies. I was teaching my kid how to roll and knead dough, and she was it was beautiful. She was having a good time with it. She was having fun with baking and then decorating the cookies. It's just really time to come together, you know. We're seeing peak point of dystopia. All of this was just a prelude up until now. So buckle up, because we're flying off the rails just like trains in Ohio. And speaking of trains flying off in Ohio, what the hell is going on here? I can say one thing with another confidence reason: I would never step into back-ass words, Ohio, okay? Come at me. I'm shooting shots this way, because apparently you guys don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. At least the Supreme Court of Ohio doesn't. So as of late, an individual's story came up to where he visited a local restaurant, ordered a plate of boneless wings. After finding a 1 1/8 inch of a bone shard in that wing and choking, lodging in his throat, this guy had to be compensated. Take it. This whole case ran through from municipal to district to state to circuit, all the way up to the Supreme Court of Ohio. And there's always been one or two judges defending the plaintiff, saying like, we need to appeal this to a higher court because all you guys are out of your damn minds who is voting in defense of, this whole situation. So once it made up to the Supreme Court, and there's a good little coverage from Charlie, Moist Critical, and his whole crew. Total awesome dudes, They had a roundtable discussion about this whole incident. They're playing devil's advocate and whatnot. One of his buddies said, he claimed, I worked in a butchery when I was a young kid. Bone shards or bone getting through the inspection and the whole preparing process is one of the lowest things on the list as a butcher. It damn near never happens at all. So the crazy thing is the defense of Supreme Court justices in Ohio made claims that like, hey, you're eating food from an animal that has an extensive amount of bones. What do you expect? Okay, fair enough. There is a possibility, right? Especially with chicken being produced at mass amounts, Tyson chicken, et cetera, right? So this must have been a big chicken producer, and Ohio was out here defending tooth and nail against reason and logic as to why. So that first defense right there, hold on to that one. Second one, a Supreme Court justice made a statement, was you go order, some chicken fingers and whatnot. You're not really expecting to eat actual fingers. You fucking serious? Yeah, because we're just a bunch of dummies out here, right? Okay. And then I think the third statement about it, and insulting statement, is that this is a cooking method. As far as I know, I'm no culinary art expert by no extent of the imagination, but I like to cook some things here and there and grill a little bit. But I do know for the fact, you deboning a chicken or leaving it bone in is the preparation process before the cooking method. Cooking is cooking entirely. Preparation is preparation. Hey, let's go ahead and take it from, some Ohio Supreme Court justices that have a 6-figure income, and definitely these guys know about cooking and cooking methods for sure, especially when they're barking orders to their maid staff in the kitchen on what they want to eat tonight. Anybody knows, they know for sure. So the crazy thing is about it, that first defense statement, there's a possibility because it's animals that have an extensive amount of bones, right? The possibility is there. So you're actually claiming that there's a small bone fragment of a possibility this could happen. Yes, it could. All right, then at least take this into account that this is a defect in the line, this is a genuine actual mistake, and compensate for it. No? Oh, it's your fault as the consumer. It's your fault that you were hungry that day for some boneless chicken wings and you purchased a plate in the name of the dish itself. Boneless wings, and you find bones in them. It's your fault because you craved boneless wings that day. Bottom line, that's Ohio right there for you in a nutshell. I would recommend don't go there at all for any chicken related anything whatsoever. It must have been the vinyl chlorine that's just really taking effect to all the people out there, honestly. They love that, and trains flying off the rails and explosions and chemicals in the air and neo-Nazis marching down through Columbus. Don't go to Ohio. That's all I can say. Maybe I'll stop in Cleveland, if anything. But then that's a big if I ever find myself out that way. Sorry, Ohio, but you guys are really fucking it up out there. So to the added world of no accountability, claims not based in reality, and, even the confirmed claim of possibility of fault is based solely on the consumer, even when there's sufficient evidence and a self-claimed statement defending it of the existence of a possibility of bones being in there. It's your fault. All right, cool. And the hell is this? So, as I said earlier, the whole China thing, right? If you have Verizon or AT&T, do not send anything through text through the SMS app. There was a project funded by China, a state-sanctioned government project, greenlit by China to hack telecoms and whatnot, specifically AT&T and Verizon. This group that was sussed out is known to be the Salt Typhoon Group, and that's where all the connections were made. So if you're using that, if you have those services, use the third-party encrypted app if you're sending personal information. Because as far as it goes, the past week or so, the response from AT&T and Verizon, it seems like everybody's just doing that at this point, man. Everybody's sleeping. So, yeah. And then, what you binging on, ya bish? A lot of Christmas movies, Christmas episodes, Family Guy Christmas episodes, good old classics, a good old classic like Jingle All the Way. I showed that to my kid. She loved it. This was like this is what I grew up on moment, you know what I mean? And loved it. Die Hard and whatnot, what have you, Christmas Story Part 2. I can go right into the toilet for all I care. That one's just a cringe fest. But yeah, dude, just sit back, watch some holiday movies. Maybe I'll get into Home Alone tonight. I think I was going to watch that, or shoot, I'm going to have to run through my options for sure. And then, hey, that's pretty much been the episode right here. I'm glad if you guys tuned in, you made it this far. Hey, I hope you like what I'm doing, what I'm trying here. We're just trying, making this content and just trying to have a good time with it. Plugs are the same, Top Flow Records on BeatStars, YouTube, CF96. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at that. I gotta stop this. And then TeePublic is Hazy Lines. And then if you want to support the thing, I got my Venmo up in the link as well too. And, just buy me a coffee at the end of the day. I'll love you for it. Hey, thank you for tuning in to episode 11, Deeper into Dystopia, or whatever I titled it, man. We're there. Twilight Zone.